yeah, he's a Calgary Flame, and he's fine to come and be here, and I don't doubt his compete, and he wants to be on the Olympic team and all. Yeah, but there was never and hey, who knows, maybe we get a deal done. There was never really that indication. It was he'll come and be a good pro until the trade happens. So this is a player that's going to be dealt, which, again, if there's no deals on the table that you like, you don't trade him just to trade him. But I would sure be more comfortable if I were Conroy. I would try and be putting a little bit more pressure on other teams, and maybe that happens after July 1. But again, it just, gosh, we spent our money. We've spent our draft picks. It just feels like you're too late for
always
dinner.
Draft picks, and if you don't get draft picks this year, there's next year, and there's the year after. So there's always a new crop of draft picks.
Yeah.
I worry that it's Scheifele, and I know the Rasmus's not Scheifele, and he's not who's the goalie? Jesus, Winnipeg.
Hellebuck.
What I'm trying to get at is, here's a guy that's been here a decade or however long it is. He's looking for something new. My concern is that the Flames need to treat this, maybe should treat this a little bit like Winnipeg, where it's like, you better hang on to your guys, because they're not easy to come by.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I've said trade them, and I've said rebuild, and I've said all that. But then there's the other side. When you hear the Winnipeg thing, you see the Buffalo thing, all the guys want, the tendencies, Hannafin, Lindholm, Zadorov to a certain extent, now Anderson, Gaudreau, Tkachuk.
Yeah.
That's a lot of talent that has said, yeah, no thanks.
And the thing with this one,
I'm not shit talking the team or the city or the facilities, or everybody's leaving. Nobody's sprinting to come this way. And I'm fine with them trading Anderson. Get something in return and get some guys locked in here, because we need guys that want to be here and are going to make a difference. And I think he's done a good job of that. I don't begrudge him if he wants out. But everyone wants we get caught up in our own stuff, and we look at Buffalo and we go, look at those losers. Hey,
yeah,
everyone's leaving. Look at all the guys that got rid of. How's our squad?
The thing about this one that I think has people most horny, I guess, for a deal. It's not a great word, but does the player want out? No. It's with this one, it's age. His contract is expiring, but it's the AAV that's okay. So his cap hit is this. Why is because everybody thinks you're going to get a massive return, which is why you don't want to trade the player or the person. It's just, okay, he's got an expiring contract. But in this case, more so than Hannafin or Tanev or any of those other guys, we're assuming that the return should be much greater because of the lower cap hit. But if that's not being reflected in trade offers, then all of a sudden, not to say you sign the player to an 8-year extension just because, but as much as I sit here and tell you, move them, get them done, if teams are looking at it and say, well, are you going to eat any more money? It's, well, no, I'm not eating. It's already $4.5 million. If it's not translating in offers, that to me changes the whole urgency of it. Not so much that, well, I better wait because the offers will be better. It's just you're hoping maybe they'll be better come trade deadline or into January or whatever.
I guess the issue when I'm as you're talking, I'm playing.
I'm making a lot of good points.
You are, and I'm playing out different scenarios in my head, and I go back to what I said to Dregs and I've said to other guys, and it's what I believe, and I could be an idiot. I clearly, most likely am. I don't know what direction this team's going. All right, you move Rasmus Andersson. You expect the return to be massive. Noah Dobson's 25, and he's telling the Islanders, I want out, and they're having to move him. So now you're assuming that you're going to get a player that you're going to keep, and he's going to want to be a long-term part of your plan, and he's going to be a difference maker moving down the road, except that's not how the world is nowadays. You've got a guy that's been here, being a good soul, and I'm arguing to keep him, because the other side of the argument that Pinder will yell at you is, well, he's going to make too much. Well, we have millions and millions in cap space. The cap is going up. His percentage of cap is going to drop.
Yeah, I don't know from his vantage and from that side, and I think we're all on both sides. It's not so much that he's going to make too much. It's just what is he going to look like in 3 years from now when you're hoping that
it's
the team starts to turn the corner?
Same scenario for everyone. And what we do when you're caught up in a market is go, oh, he's going to be great. And he's going to get a lot of money somewhere else and it's going to go well. Well, why it can't happen here? Like, it's like if he goes and plays in Dallas and signs a new contract because it gets his 8.5 or whatever the number is, are they idiots? Are they idiots? No, I'm serious, because we're not. We're clearly smarter than you because we're not going to sign him because he's going to be shitty in 4 years. Well,
yeah, I like a lot of what this player is about, and I've said it before. I think he truly does play for that crest on the front. When it's plays for Calgary versus Edmonton, he feels it. He hates the opponent. I think what it is this perceived massive return, a first and kind of a thing. Okay, well, if it's there, then
not Eric Lindros.
Then you trade him. But I don't know. We not that you were going to keep Tanev, but we were a little. The Lindholm deal was the one where you got a first rounder, a prospect, a player. That was that whole package that we always talk about. And we'll see what Brustevich is, and obviously we know what Kuzmenko did and then left, and the draft pick. But it's the way, the style of the player. How will he age? And can you get a lot for him?
And you have to manage your team differently than if you're Vegas. I'm sorry. That's just the effing truth. You don't get the luxury of letting a guy go. Winnipeg is a great example. We've got Hellebuck. We've got Scheifele. Yep, they're making a ton of money. You know what? We better sign them. We can't let guys just always F off because the pasture's greener somewhere up. Like, where are you going to fill the voids?
How do we feel about Rasmus Andersson if he's not on a 4.5? What if now he is a $9 million player?
But this is the question I'm saying to you, is that why does everyone else want him? If he's no good at 8.
Well, and I don't think that's it, though. Is because we say this too.
So because we had him at 4.5, which is one hell of a deal for what he's done for your team, he's not going to get what he's worth?
No, absolutely. All I'm saying is, are you at risk here of maybe overvaluing what he is because he's been cheaper? So Rasmus is this and he's that. He was a minus 100 this year. It was not a good year for him in some respects. He stayed healthy.
But then the rest of the league knows it and is saying to you that I'm not giving, then your return isn't what you expected. You know what I mean? That's the problem, is that we have these assumptions that we're smart enough to see all the different angles of this. It's like, well, if he isn't as good as we assume, then 4.5 isn't as cheap as we assume. Right. Hence, your return isn't as good as we assume.
And is that how you end up where we are? Where there isn't a deal, and hey,
and that's where I think you end up. What Drake said is that when you don't have clarity of direction, you're in a tough spot.
And as the GM, you're not going to want to make a trade where you feel like the return is light, because then you're going to get crushed by people for it.
The reason to make a trade with Rasmus Andersson is because you're getting a really good return. If it's not there, you should sign him and stop worrying about it.
There's a lot of people that do feel that way. And I go back and forth, and like I say, I like the player and what he brings. And if I'm not trading him just to trade him, but I don't want to lose him for nothing. I don't think you will.
You're going to end up in the same scenario where, okay, so you trade him and you get a really nice return. And those players all turn out and everybody's happy. The team that traded for him got a good player and we got good stuff in return. And then in 3 or 4 years, you're going to need a right shot defenseman to chew up some minutes. Oh, well, he was going to be old. Well, these guys take care of themselves pretty good. Mm-hmm. They're not all Giordano played a hell of a long time. Like it's nuts. And are you hanging on to all pieces that you think are going to come in and fill his void?
Hey, buddies, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.